What up, everybody? I'm Big Waz.
And I'm Nando Vila.
And we are the Woke Bros. Each week, we bring you guys lefty news from a lefty perspective, man. What does that mean? That means news from the perspective of working people like you and I.
Yeah, do you think the Republicans suck? And do you think that the Democrats also suck? Well, you're going to like our show because we think they both suck.
Absolutely. So if you want the news, all Skrilla, no filler, each and every Thursday, please subscribe, rate, review wherever you get podcasts, because the Woke Bros has their own individual podcast feed. Make sure you look up the Woke Bros, subscribe to us, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars, and say that we're the greatest of all time. See you guys soon.
What's good, everybody? We are back. It's your boy Gerard and your girl Gabby. Episode 58 of the Kicks and Shit Show. So, what is happening in those streets, Gabby?
Well, Gerard, I don't know if you know this.
Yes. Tell me. What don't I know?
It is the 21st week of the year.
It
is the 21st day of the year.
As
it is also the
June,
21st year. Look at that. What a beautiful day.
Summer solstice. Today is the longest day of the year.
Which is really good because these streets are very filled with work.
I was going to say, you got mad work.
I was back from Vegas. Still repping with my little OVO shirt.
Shouts to October's very own.
Brought my friend who is not into sneakers on a whole adventure with me, which more to come. The sneaker shopping in Vegas was quite fun.
Is she now into sneakers?
Absolutely not. I think she hates me a little bit more, but it's okay. It's a learning for all of us.
It's a vibe,
I went to a country bar for her, which that was a different experience. There were real live cowboys because the rodeo was in town. Can't make this shit up. Vegas. I think people think that Vegas is just like slot machines and strippers and shots.
It's the desert, so there's all kinds of crazy stuff there. Like
I went hiking, I went to a hockey game. There was a lot of fun shit that was happening. Sneaker shopping, I wore my SPF. I don't know if you noticed, no sunburn, which to me, in 115-degree streets, very impressed.
That is a sign of a win. I like it. You are winning.
A win.
Oh God, here we go, puns. And you've come back with that fresh vacation glow. You're
better than ever, as they say, Gerard.
As they say, back and better than ever. As people say, I'm always like, better than what? Like, what? I don't even know what that means. Like, you're just back, right? People just back, and you know what it is? It really is like, how you do the whole New Year's thing. It's like New Year, new you. No, it's New Year, same you, right?
Yeah, you're a little older actually, if anything else. Maybe not so great, Didn't do what you were supposed to last year.
And it's back and pretty much the same.
Back and flooded with emails. That's how I feel today. I'm like, I just need to talk to everybody that I work with today and give me the quick and dirty, and then I'm going to put everything else in the trash. I'm just kidding. I will not put anything in the trash. I will read every single email. But
let's be real. You know what it's like when you come back from vacation, you go in your inbox. 60% of the emails, you're like, okay, I don't even need any of this stuff. It's like, next. Okay, cool.
Nope. That's like when we used to be in the office and there'd be 37 emails. Does anybody have a straw? No, I don't have a fucking straw.
Does anybody have
These were real emails that I used to get at my first job in PR. Does anybody have a spoon? Or especially if the president of the company would say something like that, everyone would respond. I'd be like, and I used to sit right outside her office.
Yeah.
So I would be the MVP being like, oh, you mean this phone?
But
it's
so funny that
everybody's stop being so thirsty.
It's so funny that you brought that up, though, right? Isn't it funny, though? That is how that works, right? When certain people in the company do an all email, how everyone, especially the junior people, feel the need to respond to it, right? And it's like, oh my God, if I don't, it's like, dude, they ain't reading this shit. It's fine. Whatever. All good.
Yep. Or if there was food in the kitchen, that to me, it's like, I'm sorry, are we all starving and no one has eaten for days? Bagels. That food is gone before that email goes out.
Bagels in conference room 112.
People across the street are like, oh, heard, free food.
People
great.
Across the street.
Yes, I work here. You've never seen me before, but I work here. So crazy, the office culture. And I feel like there's so much nuance that doesn't exist anymore and may never exist again You know, people, it's going to be like, oh, I walked 3 miles through the snow to school. Like 37 people emailed about a spoon in the office. No one will ever believe it because it's so absurd.
You ever do the thing where, like, on a reply, on like a chain, on a large company or whatever, and someone sends a note and everybody's copied on it, and what the person is saying, everyone didn't need to see, and now it's like, and people who maybe don't have context now are like, wait, what's this, whatever. You ever like respond snarkily to them, like on the reply all? I mean, I may or may not have done that.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm a savage, but not the same kind of savage as you are. For me, I will reply to like my friends that are on there being like, why did they reply all on this one? So rude. Or it's like if you're asking for scheduling and one person's like, I'm available. And like, great. Nobody else cares. Good for you. Would you like a prize? Like, stop clogging my inbox. And I'm like, that's especially like working in sports and entertainment. I love the people that I work with because they're performers. They're big personalities, because they're not corporate.
Yeah.
Except for when it comes to emails. It's like the bane of my existence. I'm like, I don't need 37 emails.
Literally.
Being like, yeah, can someone cover for me this day? No,
thanks. No, it's funny. Yeah, nope. When you work corporate, that's non-sports entertainment, office culture is, oh my God. And we could have a whole lengthy discussion about email etiquette and like what should and should not be said on email. And man, listen, folks, got to be careful about that reply all. Don't want to get yourself caught out there.
And just don't assume that if someone's name starts with the same letter that you're emailing the correct person.
That's right.
I've seen some crazy shit in the day. Like I worked at this company where this girl talked shit about her boss and sent it to her boss because her boss and her boyfriend had the same lettered name. Of course, being a small company of all women, this got around very fast. So everybody knew. And then a week later, she sent something as like a reply all. And I'm like, did we learn nothing from last week's incident? Like, just check your stuff, people. It's okay to be detailed. No one will ever fault you for being too formal. And I know, like, I talk like a 16-year-old boy most of the time, but over email, I'll be like, yes, I'm glad to circle back with you on this. What a wonderful idea. I'll schedule some time on your calendar. Should I CC so-and-so?
I love it, right? It's like your email voice versus your, like, office voice versus your, like, when you're talking shit with your coworker's voice. Like,
it's like different people, right?
It is 100%. No, that's, people, be careful with that stuff, man. Or when people, you can tell they clearly copied and pasted something and put it into an email. I'm like,
that drives me crazy. It's like you couldn't take the time to read the email and realize that first of all, like, my name is not Gabriel. Like, you have to be so careful with that stuff. My thing is this, right? And like, I know I'm a crazy person because I'm a Virgo and I'm also a crazy person when it comes to detail, but
gotta be on your P's and Q's.
If there's like a spelling error or something like this, it seems minor, right?
Right.
But like, if you're showing that to just me, how are you presenting the brand and how are you presenting the company?
No doubt.
That's how I feel. But how have you been in these very detail-oriented streets, John?
Well, we're at that stage of, obviously it's NBA playoff time, so we're at that stage where the basketball is slowing down, right? We're no longer going to be 3-4 games in a day or night, right? We're done with that now. Now it's one game a night, and then soon it'll be like every night because we have like Eastern Conference, Western Conference finals going on, and then soon it'll be just NBA finals, and that'll be it. But I'm good. Like I'm now settled into the conference finals. We're gonna have a first-time champion. A team that's win a championship for the first time in probably since the 70s. So it's gonna be good stuff, man. I'm looking forward to how these conference finals shake out.
I totally agree with you. And I think, we were talking about this before we started recording today, right? Is like the art of shit talking, how it's kind of taken over basketball culture. And, we talk a lot on this show about how athletes are people too. And I know it sounds like a silly asinine statement, but it really is true. I mean, if people talk shit about me and you the way that they talk about like, even like Katie's big fucking feet, I mean, no one's talking about how that was an unbelievable shot, whether it was a 2 or a 3. Just like, oh, those big ass toes got him over the line. People, there's been some amazing basketball. Like, let's celebrate that. This is some of the best basketball we've seen in recent years.
These playoffs have been incredible. But you know what the internet culture is about, though, Gabby? It's about everybody trying to get their jokes off, right? Everyone's trying to become famous and go viral with their tweet or their Instagram post. I mean, that's the goal, right? Everyone is trying to become internet famous somehow by doing that. And it's like, guys, like, first of all, you ain't that funny because you're using the same joke that everybody else used, right? It's just, you can see it, right? It's like, all right, like, I get it. And I'm not even like a fun police person. Look, have your fun and whatever. but don't allow like jokes to get in the way of like actual reasoned and smart basketball discourse, right? Like, and of course, I mean, I say that, right? It's like, that's kind of like the oxymoron. Well, Gerard, you shouldn't be on Twitter for reasoned smart basketball discourse. And that is correct, right? Like, social media is not the place for reasoned smart basketball discourse because people don't know how to do that. It's just people yelling from the one half of the internet to the other. And it's just like, all right, I'm good.
Yep, and it's the same people over and over again, too. And it's like, you see me trolling,
Exactly.
the hating, you know, like
Nothing but
all
trolls.
the hate. But I don't know. I mean, there's been some really beautiful basketball this weekend. And I have to say, like, you know, I'm a fan of my Knicks, obviously, but I'm also a fan of basketball. And I think if you're a fan of the sport, you can't knock the beauty of what's been happening, right? And I think, you know, I was a little sad about when my Knicks got beat by Trae Young and the Hawks. But now that they beat Philly, I'm like, oh, see, we lost to someone who's a really good contender. So, you know, it doesn't feel so bad. And I think Trae Young might be one of the best players in that clutch playoff situation that we've seen in recent years that just, like, isn't phased by any of it. But,
Nothing.
you know, I think, like, the games were so close. It came down to so many, like, last-minute plays. And I think injuries really plagued
Huge.
a lot of teams. Like, I think if Kyrie was in, I'm going to be bold and say this, I don't think the Nets would have lost that game
Certainly
if they
not.
had their full staff.
Certainly
you know what I mean?
not. That's the Nets injuries are the story of their season, right? Like, and I know like Knicks fans want to troll and like whoever else.
Not
like,
all Knicks fans.
Not all Knicks fans, correct? Not you, but like Knicks fans want to troll, or NBA fans like, oh, that's what you get when you're a manufactured team, whatever. And it's like, okay,
I mean, they are a manufactured team, but not because of injuries.
Right.
One has nothing to do with the other.
Exactly. Injuries
Correct.
are the reason. Everyone knows if that team
Agreed.
is healthy, that series is already over and they're into the conference finals, right? Like, let's
They're a video game team. They're like NBA jams, like the dream team. Like they could play in the Olympics as is without bringing other people in and probably still win if everybody's healthy. Like it's a super team, absolutely.
You know, so it is what it is. But you know, but even despite that, we're going to see some new superstars at the forefront, right? We got, you know, because again, it's not about people like us. We're like, I mean, especially me, like super diehard, like I do it for a living, whatever. It's casual fans are going to know names like Trae Young, Devin Booker, right? DeAndre Ayton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton. Like they're going to, oh, who are those guys, right? They're going to learn about, because the casual fan doesn't know those people, right? Like, but so this is good. And, you know, hopefully the league capitalizes on a lot of these young players and young stars, like being the next generation of like, all right, these guys are good.
I like that. And I think, you know, it's true that when you say that, like a lot of our big superstars are starting to age out a little bit. And, you know, I just put this in perspective of me because I know how functional I am on and off the court at my age. And a lot of these players are my age. Like, I can't even imagine. I think, you know, I'd love to see almost like a pros versus Joes when everyone talks shit on LeBron and everybody else on their abilities on the court. God, just play a little game of horse and see how you do. You know, I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable, and we forget because there's so much talent in the NBA how good a lot of these players really are.
Yeah.
But they're not 22 anymore, and they've been out there for like some verging on 20 years. So for us to expect that they're going to be around forever and that they're not going to be plagued with injury is unrealistic. So I agree with you. I'm excited to see the spotlight on some of these younger talents that people might not know. I think more people probably know Devin Booker because he's dating a Kardashian or Jenner, yeah, instead of him being a basketball player, right? Like even with his breakout in the bubble last year, it's like that's the culture that we're in, right? This like internet quick digestible society that doesn't take the time to get to know teams in other markets in the way that someone who's a true fan of the sport really does.
No doubt. And I will say to casual fans that are picking it up, hey, if you're going to want to follow, you can only follow one team. You're like, Gerard, you know, there's still 4 teams left. That's a lot. I can't focus on everybody. I'm like, all right. Honestly, you can't go wrong on either side. I mean, focus on the Hawks and Trae Young and Kevin Huerter and that whole crew, or the Suns and Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. Like, watch the Suns, man. Like, Devin Booker's so good. Like, that team is, and they play a great style, a brand of basketball. Mikal Bridges, like, it's just, there's just so much excitement. And look, I said this on one of my other shows about 2 months ago. The Suns were, there's a few gambling folks out there, they were plus 1,200, I think, to win the NBA Finals. And I said, they have every element you need to be an NBA champion. They have shot creation and shot making from the perimeter from Booker and Chris Paul. They have shooting and defense on the wing in Bridges and Jay Crowder. And they have an elite defensive-minded rim-running big man in Ayton. Those are the pieces you need to win a championship. And they got them. And look, plus 1,200. I mean, now the odds are much lower because they're in the conference finals. If you listen to me, you might have won some big cash. So I know what I'm talking about sometimes.
Sometimes. No, I agree. And you've been talking about that for a while, and I would love to see the Suns win it. I think there's a lot of great talent that is left. So I'm intrigued to see how things go. To me, there's no clear-cut winner right now.
No, yeah. It's honestly, if any of these 4 teams win it, I would not be surprised. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you could say the Hawks probably like are the least likely of the 3, of the 4, but you know, this is weird. What we're seeing in sports, anything is possible. Speaking of anything is possible, Gabby, we got a special guest coming up next. He is part of the Count the Dings family. He's also part of the Ringer family. So stay tuned. We're back, y'all. Gabby, we are not alone. We are joined by NBA culture, writer, podcaster. He is a fashion provocateur. He is part of the Count the Diggs family and the co-host of the Woke Bros on this very here network with Nando Vila. His name is Big Waz, a.k.a. Wosny Lambre.
That was good. That was pretty good Haitian Creole pronunciation on your part, Gerard. That's a good job there.
Mon français est faible, you know?
Okay,
Yeah, we get it.
Merci.
Merci.
Croissant.
Waz, what's good, my guy? What's going on?
I'm good. I'm chilling, man. Happy to finally be on the show. I'm glad we finally freaking got the schedules right and was able to do this. So I'm hyped to be doing it. I'm ready.
Well, listen, you are a very big and important person. As we mentioned, you're hosting the Woke Bros, which is, listen, if you want to understand what's happening in the world politically, really economically, because that's really where they tie into everything. And you are like, man, but I can't sit here and listen to boring shit. Listen to Waz and Nando. And I'm not just saying that because they're on here, because well before we got attached to this, I was a huge fan of this show because I'm someone who pays attention to that stuff, but I actually like it. If you don't like it, these guys will make you like it because they talk about it in a very plain way. They're like, okay, so-and-so is in the G7 summit, but here's what actually matters about that. And you're like, oh, I get it, right? Like, you make it real simple and plain, and you basically tell us about how all the corporate overlords and oligarchs are robbing us blind day by day, and we are letting it happen. Pay attention, people. So shouts to Waz and Nando on that. And he's also with The Ringer, killing it with NBA content, Fresh Fits, his new show. I mean, talking about these NBA guys, the latest one with Harden, hilarious, by the way. And his problem is he don't got access to that Nike collection because he needs it. He does need the access to Nike. But listen, Adidas gave him that bag, so he said, I gotta do what I gotta do. So let's start there, Waz. Like, where did your love for fashion, sneakers, and everything sort of come together, and how is it all tied to sport for you?
I mean, I think for me, growing up in New York, in Brooklyn and Queens specifically, it's not something that I fell into. It kind of just was, right? Like, everybody on my block cared about what kicks they were wearing. Everybody wanted to get fresh. That was like, if you didn't care about getting fresh, you were an outlier, right? Like, it was that type of thing. It wasn't like, oh, like this was something that separated you from the people you were around. No, this was just part of the culture that I grew up in, right? And so it was always about getting the latest Tommy or Polo or Nautica, or I saw somebody in a vintage Chaps shirt the other day, and I was like nerding out. I was like, wow, could have had a Polo shirt. You know what I mean? So that's just part of the culture growing up. Like, and my family members for sure indoctrinated me in all of that, right? Like, you had to get a Columbia jacket. You had to get the Eastland shoes. You had to get, obviously, Tim's. You know, you had to get a bubble jacket. It was like, that was just all a part of my upbringing. And I would say, like, me personally, I don't care about clothes, like my own personal stuff, as much as I used to. I think that's just come with spending a long time being broke while also getting older. So it's like I definitely care about it a lot less than I used to, but it's something that I have, that I spend a lot of time thinking about clothes throughout the duration of my life. So it's something that I'm into.
It's funny you mentioned that. So obviously you are the son of immigrant parents and you have older siblings and cousins. So I imagine the siblings and cousins got you involved in the clothing aspect of it. But what role did mom and dad, family members, and or older uncles play in that for you, if any?
So, you know, like coming from being a first generation Haitian American, right? Like my mom's idea of looking great is hard bottom shoes.
Yes.
A suit,
Yes.
a tie,
Yes.
hard bottom. That's the only way a man can look good.
Yes.
To my mom, right? So my mom was cool enough that she could understand that she didn't want me to stick out like a sore thumb amongst my peers, but to her, looking good had nothing to do with them damn Nikes, right? Like that she was like, that's what bums wear, right? And by the way, Haitians call people who like hoodlums who commit crimes. Yes. Bums. Yes, correct. Not like they're homeless.
Yes, but just
they're just bums because they don't have a square job. Exactly. They don't go to school. They're selling weed. They're bums. That's what bums wear, right? That would be the sort of vernacular my mom would use. But she understood that, you know, in order for me to be happy as a kid, there were certain things that I liked and she would participate and humor me, right? And not to say that she would buy me 5 pairs of Jordans, because that was never the case. I could probably get one. And then I was fortunate enough to be so much younger than so many people in my family. Like my brother's 11 years older than me. So by the time he was 18, 19, he had a job. You understand what I'm saying? Like he could buy me some sneakers, right? My older cousin could buy me some sneakers with her first job. My aunt would buy me some stuff. So it was about pooling the resources, you know, throughout the family to ensure that I could get certain stuff. Like my dad, before the school year started, he'll get me some kicks, but he's like, bro, I'm not getting you another pair. I work for my bread. I'm not getting you another pair of kicks for a minute, so you better make this a good one, right? And then there was that, and then of course there was hand-me-downs, right? Like my brother would be like, yo, you can have these kicks, or my cousin would be like, yo, you can have these kicks, or you can have this Tommy jacket, or you could whatever. So it was about, again, pooling the resources, because nobody was rich by any stretch of the imagination. And so that's how we got it, man. We had the barter system, you know, like trading kicks, trading. I remember my man traded. He had a Coogee hoodie that he traded for a pair of Jordan 16, the mustards.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like, it wasn't even always kicks to trade. It was like, all right, I have this sweater that I had saved up for. Let me get those kicks, right? Like and we were so conscious of getting fresh all the time as kids and teenagers and stuff like that. So that's why, you know, when it comes to the current moment that we're in with NBA players being so fashion conscious, it's not hard for me to understand it, because this is what I came up in.
And that's the same for so many of them, right? And now, of course, for a lot of them, they now have the unbelievable means to literally get whatever they want and look fresh, right? I mean, and it's this whole different level. It's like, all right, and for them, I mean, it's going to work, right? A lot of them had that same sort of like upbringing where it's like, all right, when I go to work, I want to make sure I look a certain way, and you know, part of that's the performative aspect of it. You know, might want to impress a shorty out there that they may see in the, you know, in the spot to let her know what the deal is. But that part of, because clothes, so much of that is right, is you internalize that, right? Like how you outwardly look when you put on something is an intrinsic value to that, right? Where you're like, all right, you know, when you're about to go to that interview and you're like, nah, I'm rocking this one because I know once they see these with the kick, watch, and your confidence is elevated, right? And you feel some kind of way, and it's a beautiful thing. Gabs, I know you got questions for Waz about lots of things.
I was gonna say, I love that you mentioned the Coogee sweater too, but like, especially now that you come from New York and you live out west, what has been the biggest difference in style that you've noticed from going from the best coast to the west coast?
Tim's.
Aside from Tim's.
This is not a very style conscious place, LA. It's image conscious in a different way, about like looking good and being fit and eating right and all of that stuff. But as far as getting fits off, no, not so much. Like it's not like Soho. It is not, right. Like you will not walk down Sunset or even something like Rodeo where all the high-end shops are at and look at what people are wearing and be impressed. There's going to be a cat. There's going to be a chick with a Cartier bracelet and some Chanel shoes and, you know, the typical whatever. It's not like, yo, you ever be on the subway and see like a Korean girl in just the craziest shit you've ever
fit.
seen.
Yep.
And you're like, yo, how did she put that together? Like, what?
But it works.
Yeah, of course. But that's never going to happen here in LA. Trust me. That's the main difference that I see. They're not as style conscious as New York. New York, it's like, whether you like it or not, you're going to start participating in this shit because people take it so serious in New York. That's not really the case in LA. It's kind of just like, all right, I'm going to wear shorts and a t-shirt and keep it pushing, or I'm going to wear the obviously it item, right? Like if you go to Kith right now, you'll see a bunch of kids in Kith or whatever.
And all the same head to toe, right?
Yeah. There's no style. That's what style is making it individual to you and your own self-expression, right? Like I don't think you see a lot of crazy self-expression here in that way out in LA.
And so you obviously now at the Ringer, you have the opportunity to do everything that is a passion point for you and get paid for it, right? I mean, you're in that way, you're living the dream, right? Like the ability to wake up every day and talk about, create, and do things that you would be talking about anyway with your homies. Now I'm getting paid for it. Like talk about a little bit about the journey through that and how special it is to be doing what you love and what you're passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy because, you know, I've been getting this question more and more since I got this job at the Ringer. People are like, yo, how do you do this? How did you do this, right? And it's kind of funny because back in 2013, when I got let go at a job that I was working at JP Morgan Chase, and my girl at the time was like, what would you be doing if you could be doing anything? And I tell it all the time. I remember thinking to myself, I was like, this white girl done lost her ever-loving mind. Like, only white people think you can just do anything. Like, you can just do anything. You can do anything you put your mind to. Like, do whatever you want.
You can.
I was just like, I literally distinctly remember thinking that, like, yo, this girl, like, white people are insane. I can't just do anything. Like, I don't have the formal training to, like, do, X, Y, and Z. But anyway, she was like, if you could be doing anything, what would you be doing? So I had that initial thought of, like, this girl's crazy. And then I was like, well, I mean, I'll probably be doing something in the media. Specifically sports media, specifically the NBA, because that's what I'm most passionate about. That's what I've always been the most passionate about. And she was like, well, do you know anybody in the field? And I was like, actually, I do. I know one person. And Amin had just got hired at ESPN. Like, and he wasn't even full time. He was just, I think he was doing like freelance article type shit. And I reached out to him because we have mutual acquaintances and all of that. And he was like, yo, this is how you make a way. You want to be distinct. You want to blah, blah, blah. He gave me a couple pointers, kept it pushing. So whatever. And then this is back when ESPN could give a fuck about digital. Right.
I mean, they kind of still don't give a shit, but
all about TV, specifically all about Sports Center.
Yep.
They didn't give a fuck what was happening any other place. And so Amin got his own web show called After Dark. And he was like, yo, I want you to come on my show and talk about the Knicks. I feel like this was like, what's his name? Woody was coaching at the time.
Yep. Spreecast days.
This is still around like 2014-ish. And Amin was like, yeah, come on and do After Dark. We talked about the Knicks. And Jay, the producer, and I don't think Jay produced the show, but he listened to it and watched it. He's like, yo, I fuck with that kid. We should try to incorporate him in more stuff. And then, of course, when they would do the Friday show, I would be at that Friday show all the time. And then Jade had me on one time, and then he just kept doing it. He just kept fucking doing it because nobody was paying attention. Nobody cared about the bastard stepchild in digital. Nobody gave a damn what they were doing with these web shows. So Jade had the leeway to do it, and he kept using me and throwing me out there to the point where he's having me on pods with Windhorst and Arnovitz, who are like, these are fucking
legends.
Journalists.
Yeah.
Okay, like with a capital J. Like these motherfuckers might as well be wearing fedoras, you know what I'm saying, with the feather in it. You feel me? Like, but Jade just kept doing it, and I was nervous and all of that shit, but he was just like, nah, you gotta just do it, do your shit, you have it. And again, I'm not getting paid for none of this shit. Jay's just doing it. I'm just working odd jobs in New York doing what I do. matter of fact, the last job that I had in New York, I was working with developmentally disabled young adults. Like, that's what I was doing throughout the entire time of this process, right? So that's happening. That basically went on for like 2.5 years. And then I got my first job offer for a startup here in LA. The dude was like, I want to hire you guys for a startup sports media company, but you have to move to LA for it. And that was 2017 was basically the first time that I was getting paid to do this shit, you know? And then that company ended up going belly up because one of the co-founders was a thief. And whatever, but that whole thing of being in LA, that begat an audition that I got at Uninterrupted for a show with them and Spotify. We then started our own shit. We then started Count the Dings, which basically, I want to say 5 or 6 months into Count the Dings, we had our first conversations with The Athletic. And then basically 4 months after we first started talking to them, they hired me and Jade. They brought the podcast entity from us. And that was my first like proper media job, right? And now, 2 years after that, now I'm at The Ringer, right? But it's all been, gradual and leading up to it. It's not like, because to be honest with you, if in 2014 you would have told me like, yo, Bill Simmons is going to text you now randomly.
You'd be like, what?
Bill Simmons is going to put you on a text thread with Joe House to talk about how whack Ben Simmons is. Like, I would have been like, you're out of your mind. But, it's all been sort of building towards this. And I always had the idea, when you guys asked me how I get to be doing what it is that I want to do, I always had the idea that I wanted to talk about, make content in spaces of shit that I felt passionate about, right? Like, I'm not going to do a golf podcast. I'm not going to write about golf. Shouts to everybody who's passionate about it. That's not a passion of mine. And when it came to the NBA, like, I've been so obsessed with the NBA basically since I was like 6. I always felt like I could do it because I would come to it from a holistic point of view. And what I mean by that is like sneakers and fashion and James Harden being at little baby's birthday party before the season while he's supposed to be at training camp. Like, to me, that's the NBA is all, the way I come at it is all encompassing. It's from the entire angle of it. And so that's always been my approach, is to be holistic about how I think about the NBA.
No,
I mean, I think that, and I was going to say, I think a lot of people see this success and are like, oh, how did you just do this? So like, I like that you talk about the process, and like, I hope people listening realize like sometimes you don't get paid for doing what you love, but it gets there eventually. Like, it's a lot of work that you put in. It's really dope.
Yeah, and the thing is too about what we was doing in True Hoop, like 2014, 15, 16 and all of that. Like, the more I did it, it's so funny. The more I did it, the more sort of confidence I built and more. So I was getting better at doing the thing. And then I was getting followers from it. Like, I'm on ESPN's fucking website twice a week talking shit, right? And like, I'm getting, like, my followers are increasing. So it's like my credibility as far as somebody who can do it is increasing. And I will say this, people like Ethan fucking encouraged the shit out of me, was like, bro, you got an aptitude for this. Keep going. Don't stop. Nate Duncan, obviously Jade, who for all intents and purposes discovered me. And then, of course, Zach and Tom and Amin, like, they're not just my personal friends. Like, these are people whose work I admire, whose work I emulate and stealing from them all the time, right? Like, so having those people, it was the combination of, because we all need encouragement, no matter what we're doing, even if we think we're good at it, like, getting those words of encouragement to be like, nah, like, you got something, keep going with it. That helped me when it's like, damn, like, what's the path to ever getting through this? I remember my first conversation with Henry where he's like, yo, I fuck with what you do, but there's a lot of red tape in Disney. Like, I couldn't just walk you in and be like, make him full-time right now. They have their own fucking problem. But just talking to Henry, and he's like, nah, you have a perspective, you have a clear point of view. What you would bring would be unique to the type of NBA coverage that's out there. I fuck with what you do. So it's not like Henry got me a job, but Henry was like, nah, what you're doing, there's a place for this within this ecosystem of NBA media. And again, that was also big. You feel me? So all of those things combined, and they led up to, again, like, everybody listened to that damn True Hoop podcast. Like, everybody who really gave a fuck about the NBA and was on the internet was listening to what we was doing on there. So, like, the right people also knew who the fuck I was, right? Like, people that could put you in a position knew who the hell I was. So that helped, you know, that's part of the journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously it would have been nice to just be getting paid handsomely from the beginning. Because I think about the deal that I just signed. I'm like, shit, that shit would have been way more if I had been getting paper, you know, but it's all part of the journey. You know what I'm saying? It's all part of it. And you know, I'm not somebody who's dumb enough to say I wouldn't have it any other way. No, I wish I was getting more paper back then, because I'm probably getting more paper now. But yeah, it's, you know, you know, the thing that I would say to anybody who's listening to this and they do have a passion or something that they're chasing, it's just about staying consistent with it. And if you believe in what you're doing and you're putting the time to be as great as you can at it, then that's what you should try to do ultimately. And I know that sounds corny or whatever, but like, that's just what it is. I think if you're truly, I really do think, because like, people think talent is just something that you naturally have. I think it's something that you build upon.
I think it's both,
that you work at. Like, if you have a talent and you're working at it and you're making it better, you know, I'll always feel like that shit's gonna work out for you in the end somehow, some way.
Shouts to Capitalist Waz, by the way. You see, we're getting he ain't no fool. While he is about this socialism, like he's like, yo, hold up, though.
Let me tell you something. Here's the thing about being socialist, right? It's like,
we still need money. Like, we're still aware we need money.
It's not even that. It's not that I don't like money. It's that the people who have the most of it need to share it with us.
Exactly. Correct.
Like, that's what it's about. Period. Like, hello, come up off that bread.
Exactly. I say this. I say this all the time, right? It's like, you know, capitalists have done this amazing job of painting socialism. Everybody standing in line at a soup kitchen waiting for government handout. That ain't what it is, folks.
Have some more?
Yeah, right. Yes, that's not what it is, folks. It's that Jeff Bezos don't need $1 trillion. That's all.
And like, you know, I live in LA, so the homelessness out here is obviously notoriously insane. You know, you walking on Sunset in Hollywood, and there's tent cities right on Sunset Boulevard. Around the corner, there are houses that are worth $4 or $5 million. That don't make no type of sense.
No type of sense.
That don't make no type of sense.
None whatsoever.
At all. Like that dichotomy, that contrast is so stark here between the haves and the have-nots. Like, it's so in your face, the wealth disparity in the city. You know, so that's what my politics are. But fuck, shit, of course. Why the hell would I not think Spotify should be giving me more money? They got the money. What the hell?
You just gotta share it.
That's it. Share that wealth, baby.
To think otherwise, you know.
Let's get into some sneaker talk. Waz, like, how are you feeling about the current game, man? Because you know, Gabby and I talk about this all the time, and this hype culture, of course, which we all know, and it's like, all right, Virgil's gonna release, and everybody's like, get so hyped about it. I'm like, guys, we know what it's gonna be. A zip tie on an existing thing with the back.
It's a colorway. Right? That's what it is. At this point, it's a colorway.
Cool, whatever.
That troll was amazing. I'm dropping 50 dunks and really it's just one dunk. That was insane, bro. Yeah, no, but we put a different color, my little plate on it, and it's a different zip on it. The same shoe. Oh, but you get purple laces with this one. That was amazing. And the best part about it is like, Virgil's doing, like, what he's doing is important in the sense that, like, the absurdity is so in your face. Like, guys, he's telling you what it is.
He's literally trolling you about it.
He's telling you, like, this whole thing is a joke. This is a joke. And people are just like, give me more of it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And so, how do I feel about the current I mean, like, look, I'm never going to not love sneakers, right? I am exhausted by the process by which you come to sneakers that you like. if it happens to be a crazy hyped pair, that's exhausting. But I'm gonna always get kicks, right? And I'm like I'm looking at a random array, right? Like these New Balances that I bought when I went to when I went to do a story on them. And they did bribe me because my man Mike let me use his discount, and because it was Christmas time, it was up to 60%.
Oh, okay.
And I love these. I forget what are these? The 850s. 850s. I'm gonna get another pair.
That's a comfortable shoe too.
Yeah, 850s. I wore these shits to the ground. It's not hyped. Pharrell never put them on.
Pharrell never put them on. Jaden Smith ain't got nothing to do with these.
I was at the Santa Monica Promenade.
Nice.
These Air Maxes. They was on sale, I think, for like $75. I said, yo, these are right. I fuck with them. So I copped it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but of course, last night I was at Delilah, so I had to bring the big boys
I had to
out.
flex a little bit too. Okay.
Last night I was at Delilah. I said, let me show these people something real quick.
Waz, how many times a week you be at Delilah, homie? Keep it 100.
Once a week. I'm there at least once a week. On a crazy weekend because we're just now opening everything. The bar's back open. Everything is back.
Outside is open.
Hey,
everything's
they
back
wildin'.
to what it was before. So I could see myself probably sliding in there twice every now and again. But I'm in there once a week, and Jazz Night is something I try to hit every Sunday. So I try to be in there every Sunday for sure.
What I love about Waz is that it relates to sneakers. Like he's like, look, the hype, whatever. If you find some shit that you like, just go get the shit that you like.
That's all that matters.
Right? Like I ain't worried about whoever is saying this is whatever, man. If you think it's still cool, get it for yourself. If not, keep that shit moving.
Like, look, the blue Travis ones that are about to come out.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get my hands on them, of course.
Right.
But, like, I think those are hard sneakers. Like, I like them, but, like, I don't need every single joint. And this is the thing. This is how you know somebody's really into this shit or not. Like, if everything in your closet is one of these crazy releases, you're not really into sneakers.
Yeah.
Because if you are into sneakers, you could walk into a sneaker store anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And if they have a respectable amount of inventory, you're going to find something that you like and cop it and wear it and feel great when you wear it. That's just, to me, that's what it's supposed to be.
I love it.
That's a great way to put it. I mean, I'm going to go for those Travis Scotts because that's my favorite color, blue, and, got to keep it consistent. But Gerard knows, I always say this all the time. I never feel like I'm cool enough if I have to do interviews about sneakers. So I'm like, I just got some like regular schmegula kind of shit, but that's what it's about. So there's been a lot that's been coming out in terms of like regular schmegular, but like, what have you been liking that maybe isn't the most hypest pair that's been out lately, aside from those New Balances?
Honestly, and people are gonna say I'm biased, but I think what New Balance is doing just in general is just it's just been incredible. Like the new 5740 silhouette that they dropped, like that's an amazing sneaker. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that they hired Teddy Santis of Aimé Leon Dore to be part of their North American releases, which I went to that factory. It's in Massachusetts. It's all immigrant workers in there with quality jobs. They work in a safe environment. Like, it didn't make it into my article, but I think that's important in the sense that I know New Balance got in trouble for their founder sending campaign contributions to Donald Trump during 2016, which is whack.
Right, no doubt.
You could say that. That's whack. But, like, these people have a factory. They're employing American workers here in America.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't ship those jobs elsewhere.
That's right.
They do they do have businesses in Asia. They do have sneakers that they make in Asia, but I think it's 30% of the sneakers they make are made in America. That's amazing.
That's huge, man.
That's impressive.
And nobody really talks about it.
I just love what New Balance is doing, just generally speaking. The shit they're doing with Jaden Smith, I think is fire.
Kawhi signature line.
I like what they're doing with the basketball shoe where they're marrying. Like the other day, I saw DeJounte Murray wearing a sneaker where it's the new basketball line, but it's in that traditional New Balance colorway, right? Like it's not some newfangled design. It was just all maroon and I think white. And I'm like, okay, see, now they're starting to get it. They're doing their futuristic stuff with the new basketball silhouettes, marrying it with the tradition that made them New Balance in the first place. I'm just impressed at what they're doing because that third spot is always sort of up for grabs. It's always in flux. Is it Fila one day? Is it Reebok the next day? Is it New Balance? Who is it going to be? And I think New Balance is firmly sort of wedging themselves into that third spot.
Yeah. No, I think we're at a sneaker big three right now, right? Like, obviously, we know Nike's who they are, Adidas. Like, I think New Balance, they are coming for that third spot. And I think they have the history and they have the infrastructure in place now to kind of put a stranglehold on it. And look, I mean, you're never gonna topple Nike. That's just institutional.
Right. Don't even think about it.
Right. It just is what it is. You know, but you can kill in the third spot though, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're smart about it. And even someone like Adidas, who of course they'll never admit it, but going after Nike, not bright for them either. But Jerry Lorenzo, right? All these important hires they make, they could again carve out their lane and be solidified in. Because look, as much as we love Nike and Jordan Brand, not everything they put out is dope and hot, right? If Jerry puts out something fresh and I like it, I'm like, yo, I'm getting that. Not just because Jerry's doing it, right? There's lots of stuff that he puts out that I'm like, nah, not for me. But if it's fresh, I'm going to get it, right? And I think that's where these brands are starting to sit.
And also, it's very smart to attach a name to the products that aren't signature. So it's like the 2022 Adidas basketball shoe will technically be a Jerry Lorenzo. You understand? It will technically be a Fear of God, right? Like, that's very smart to be doing it that way because you're getting both. You feel me? Like, you're attaching a name without doing it. It's not a signature, but you have the expertise of a guy who's, let's face it, he started off with Yeezy, helped Kanye get that thing off the ground. Fear of God is a force in even footwear in its own right. And the Fear of God Nike that he made, out of here, obviously. Like, that silhouette went crazy. It fucked up the game. And so, like, you're getting that expertise and that cachet, that cultural cachet. I think it's a very smart move, but it was so obvious that this is the direction that they had to go. Like, when Nike and Nike specifically go so heavy collaboration, it's just like eventually the smart thing to do is just hire these dudes. Hire Ruigi, hire Jerry, hire Teddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, eventually that was where it was gonna go.
Yeah, smart move by them for sure. Man, we could talk about this stuff forever with Woz, but we don't have all night, people. Stay tuned because coming up next is America's favorite segment, Shoe and Tell, presented by Another Lane, the premier digital marketplace for dope kicks. So don't go away. What's good, everybody? We are back, and you know what time it is. America's favorite segment, Shoe and Tell, presented by Another Lane, the premier digital marketplace for dope kicks. Guys, I tell you every week about Chad and Adina. Let me just give you a little bit more insight on them. So they just recently, they're about 90% way through closing their seed round for anotherlane.com. And once that's closed, that means more work for their platform. They're going to grow it, make it even bigger, even better. Again, we talk about the culture around sneakers and how, you know, it's all capitalism and nobody like is really in it for the love anymore. Chad and Adina, in it for the love. They got great things. Make sure you head over to anotherlane.com. Check it out if you want to put your collection up there because you may want to meet with somebody else and talk about buying some of their shoes or selling some of yours or what have you. They'll hook you up. Make sure you go ahead and do that. Now, Shoe and Tell. Woz, this is your show, my man. Tell us what you got and tell us why it's important to you.
All right. The first joint is these Black History Month. New Balance 990s. Shouts to my family over at New Balance. They sent me these made in America.
Woz loves America, people.
so I could get xenophobic real quick. The coolest thing about this shoe is that, like, New Balance wanted to do something centered around the black creatives at the company. So they was like, for Black History Month, we're going to let y'all design a shoe. It came with, they did a whole line, had a t-shirt, hoodie. Obviously the materials on here is fire, the suede. I wore this shit once. Somebody stepped on me and I was like, all right, it's so I got to stop wearing this. This is ridiculous. Because that's the thing about a shoe that's white or cream colored. It's just tough, right? And I still haven't cleaned it yet. But yeah, these joints is hard. I just love,
I like them.
Like, Like they gave you the whole story behind the design of it, all the black creatives in the company who were involved, and I just thought it was a really dope shoe. So shouts to the family at New Balance.
The why behind it. That's what we love, right, Gabby?
Always about the why.
Great storytelling. The next joints are these Nike, the up-tempos.
Yep.
Y'all know, originally released in 96. This was just when I was a kid.
That was the shoe.
I gonna hold you.
All
My
about the nostalgia.
dad got me the one with the one air bubble.
Okay.
Yeah, I was corny for that. And so when I got older, I was so hyped when they re-released these joints. But in 2012, I wasn't able to get my hands on these. So I didn't get these till what, 2018.
Yeah.
I got these like 3 years ago, and it's still one of my favorite pairs. I wear this shit all the time. Like, just one of my favorite sneakers of all time. And, only real heads know what's going on, because they be like, 2012s? I'm like, yeah, boy, the Olympic joints. So,
The Olympic joints.
shouts to Scottie Pippen.
Shouts to Pip.
Shouts to Nike. My next joint are the Dreamer ones.
Ooh, listen, shouts to your Puma. Wait, tell the connection, Waz. You gotta let the people know.
Well, Dreamville is my family. That's my family. Boss, Ibrahim, Felton, everybody over there. Those are my people. D. Shouts to Big D, Derek Oakley. Not just my left tackle in high school freshman football. He was also our center on the basketball team. So shouts to D, Derek Oakley, the whole Dreamville fam. I was so proud when I saw this sneaker because I heard J. Cole was coming out with his own original silhouette. And I'm like, all right, we'll see. You never know. Rapper sneaker. You get nervous, right? They went in on the detail of this, and you can hoop in it, and I think it's just a dope shoe. And this is probably my favorite of this colorway for sure because it evokes the Air Jordan 4s, right? Like the white and the cement. It's just hard. So I love these sneakers. So shouts to the whole Dreamville family. And last but not least, man, the Bread Fours.
Oh,
the
man,
Bread
you
Fours.
gotta,
The Bread Fours. The Bread Fours. And the reason why I picked this sneaker, because I used to think that my favorite Jordan silhouette of all time were the Sixes.
Ooh, interesting.
And I'm still a six head. I still love the Sixes, but as I've gotten older, I've realized this is my favorite silhouette. This is my favorite shoe of this Mike line. It just looks, it's just perfect. Shorts, jeans, chinos.
You said chinos.
It's not too high. It's not too low.
It's perfect.
It's just right.
This is perfect. It's just my favorite. It's become my favorite silhouette of the entire thing. So this is another one that I'll just like when I don't know what I want to wear. This is it. It's just I just wear it with anything. It doesn't matter. So shout out to the Jordan.
Gabby, did you just Goldilocks us?
Is that your favorite colorway out of the fours?
Yeah, absolutely. The breads is
It
definitely
would go nicely with another one.
It would.
Of course.
Gabby, did you just
Fours
Goldilocks
are my
us?
favorite four. You know that.
You're the Toro Fours. That's your favorite. Did you just Goldilocks us,
favorite.
Gabby, with just right? Did you just literally?
I absolutely did.
Listen.
I Gabby locked us.
God, this is.
That was not my best work. I'm
no,
sorry.
not your best. We're workshopping it. Speaking of, I want to get to a couple things real quick before we go. Gabby, you recently were on Nike's Grail Tales. You want to tell us a little bit about the honor it is to be on such a prestigious platform?
I was. I mean, I say this all the time. It's an honor to be nominated, and then I never feel cool enough. And then add in Vegas on top of that. I'm like, how many sneakers can I fit inside of my bag and still have clothes to wear for the week? Like, Gerard knows. We met at All-Star. I literally brought a check bag just so I could bring kicks with me. Asked Gerard how many sneakers he brought.
0, because it was snowing in Chicago, and I don't wear my kicks in inclement weather. Thank you very much.
But no, that pair is always interesting for me. It's the royal ones, and I feel like I love sneaker shopping with people that don't know anything about sneakers because they automatically think you're insane, right? Like, you're like, oh, I want to go here. Then they're like, wait, there's a line. Wait, you have to enter a raffle to win a pair to just buy them. Like, they're like, what did you say? They're how much? Like, my mom calls them my mortgage shoes. And so like, I know you said you're not a golf fan, but it's funny. I was in Atlanta to go to the Masters with my family. We got tickets for like one of the practice rounds, and I was like, I gotta go early. I don't want to take a road trip down the coast with my family. Love them, respect them, but nobody needs like 12 hours in the car with the Rosenthal clan. Like, no, thank you. So I flew down early and I was like, these are coming out. There's no way I can get the satin version. But like my friend, literally, I was like, drive me over here. Let's go here. And so we end up at the mall and it's like, what, noon? I was like, there's no chance in hell. I don't know where I'm going. I'm like supermarket sweep, running down the aisles. Like, where am I going to go? Lines everywhere. My friend already thinks I'm nuts, especially thinks I'm nuts now. And there was one pair, not on the shelf, on the side. And it was like,
it's calling you. Yeah,
the heavens opened up. And like,
you.
The joke about ones is that I can never get my size. Like, now that I like know a few people, I can like put in some words and get the correct size, but I've always had to take out the insoles and squeeze my little baby toes into a 6.5 because that's all that I can get. But I felt like it was fate, and I was really happy to tell my story. It was like a crazy day. My friend thinks I'm crazy. She still talks about it when we do Thanksgiving with her family down in Florida.
Shouts to the people who understand the idea of taking out your insoles, because you got to get that. It's all it's got to fit. Listen, man.
You got to make it work.
Exactly. You got to make it work. That's what you do.
Make it work. Woz, really quick. So you mentioned the 4s, obviously. So in the iconic Jordan line, what are your top 5 silhouettes? So 4 is 1.
Yeah. So it's the 4s, the 3s, the 5s, the 6s. Those are 3, 4, 5, and 6 are my favorite of the entire line, right? Okay. And if I have to pick a 5th, it would probably be, I would probably say either the 9s or the 17s.
Wow.
No, not the 17s, the 16s.
Okay.
Those are my favorites. Like, I know everybody loves the 11s, and I know how iconic and influential and groundbreaking it was. Me personally, like, I like the shoe. Right. Don't get it twisted. Right. Like, if you bring some Bread 11s here right now, I'll probably rock it tomorrow. But like, it's like that shoe just doesn't speak to me.
I'm with you.
In the way that even the 5s, and that's another thing about Virgil, why I appreciate him. He just exposed everybody to be so fraudulent. Like, remember when the 5s? Oh, those shoes are too bulky. I don't like the 5s. No, everybody was
Virgil 5s, off-whites though.
All of a sudden, the 5s is back. All of a sudden, y'all going crazy for 5s? I thought they were too bulky. What happened? So that's why I appreciate Virgil. Like, he puts such a, like, he shines such a bright light on the fraudulence of the entire premise of so much of sneaker culture, right? Like, I've never not liked the 5s. Right. Like, to me, it's a dope shoe. It's a fire shoe. I get it. The tongue is bigger than most tongues, and it's higher on your ankle than most sneakers. I get it, but I always loved the 5s, right? And so, yeah, like, the 11s are just whatever to me. Like, the 1s, I like the 1s too, but look, Travis Scott did something different with these sneakers, right? So I'm like, wow, this is fire. This is like just the brown, the backwards check, the pink. Like, they did something with the sneakers. But I'm not somebody who's pressed to have every single one possible. I got some, man. My ex actually bought me a pair of those green and black joints that had came out, and I brought them back. I was like, I don't want this shit. I don't even like this shit. I like. There's ones that I like. Like,
you should have sold it on another lane.
Exactly. I remember my boy was so mad at me when I told him that. So he's like, bro, don't ever give back a pair of J's that you bought for retail. I'm like, son, I don't do this. I don't do the selling it. I don't do that. Like, when I want a pair of kicks, like these breads right here, I didn't get them on Sneakers app. I just went right to StockX, paid the $50 upcharge or whatever it was, and they were at my crib in a week and a half. I'm fine with that. I either get it or I don't. I'm moving on with my life. I'm not doing the whole craziness that comes with it.
It's too stressful. You're right.
Well, because that's the hype culture, right? That's not actually about, because it's not about wanting the stickers because you care. To your point was, you know how popular the 11s are, but you're like, dope shoe, but to me, they don't speak to me. These shoes speak to me. And that's how you know you're dealing with, right? Someone who's like really into it. You gotta love that. I do love the fact that your ex bought you a pair of sneakers and you returned them. Could that be why she's your ex now?
I was just gonna ask, because that's what I'm thinking. You'd be my ex if you returned the pair of sneakers I got you.
No. It wasn't like that. We returned it together. I think I got a different pair of sneakers instead.
I thought he was like, oh, hell no, take these.
I'm pretty sure with the bread, because it comes out to like close to $200 or something like that. I'm pretty sure I went on StockX and just got something else within that price range. Okay. You know what? I think I might I think I might have got the China Moons.
Okay.
China Moon LeBron 7s that had retro. I think I had just got that instead.
Okay.
Again, LeBron 7s, a sneaker that I personally like, right?
There you go.
Like, so when they retroed them, I got them. There was no line. There was no hype. There was no this. And every time I wear them, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying?
That's what matters, is there's a vibe when you wear them.
That's all it is. And that's what I would encourage people to do.
I love it. Wow, this was dope, man. We really appreciate you coming on. Besides The Ringer and on here, Count the Dings BOMM Network, where can the people find you?
Yeah, I'm BIGWOS on every single social media platform. Hit me up, yell at me, tell me why I'm an idiot for not making the 11s the greatest Jordan silhouette of all time. Tell me why I'm a complete dumbass for not even mentioning the ones that every single influencer and their mother now just ran into the ground. Hit me, get at me, Twitter
and their mother.
Yeah, Twitter, Insta, get at me, man, please.
I love it. Oh, folks, thank you so much for rocking with us as always. You know where to find us. We are at Kicks and Shit Show on all social media platforms. And of course, we are part of the Count the Dings family in the BOMM podcast feed. Listen, we are here with Woke Bros, which you can hear Waz on, the original BOMM show. Rap names, Crazy Sexy Cool, Growing Up the Same, right? Listen, all these shows, we're out there. Make sure you check us out. Until next time, peace.